Give me 10 minutes and I'll convince you to let go more often. Because most of us aren't struggling to let go. We're struggling holding on too long. Holding on to things, expectations or norm. And lastly, even holding on to versions of people that no longer exist in our life. Let's dive into chapter number 1, the weight that we carry. Let's say on a beautiful day, you decide to go for a hike. It has beautiful scenery, some local crystals that you can pick up along the way. Which means you bring a bit bigger backpack, you go on for hours and pick some crystals, put it in your bag. You're starting to get slower, exhausted. And how does that show up in our own life? We're having so much responsibilities. It could be even running our own household can come up with such a burden or weight that we carry. And the same is especially with clutter. And that's what I really want to go here and emphasize. Working towards a minimalistic lifestyle is often about letting go of our belongings. But the weight that we usually carry and the resistance, which I'll talk in chapter number 2, is that we are just seem to be not seeing it. That also has to do because we're thinking we just have to organize more our things. But organization is hoarding in disguise. It maybe look aesthetic, but does it make sense to carry that much stuff with us? And that has also to do with the mental load. I could see that in myself, that the mental load and the physical load around me really affected me. I was stressed more often. I had a higher anxiety, and the weekend slipped by and I had to do my chores, reorganize my home, and especially if you're living with multiple people, it can get messy quickly. And that's what I want to emphasize with the story. So that's part 1. And part number 2 is, why are we resisting? When we're going back to the story, you're getting exhausted, your backpack is full, but you think, that crystal over there or 5 meters away is so much better or so much special, and there will be some space in my backpack that I can fit it in. You're physically getting exhausted, but somehow you're just driven by, I need to show all the crystals when I come home, or I will have a good collection. Maybe I can sell them, or somehow that's just maybe what someone expects, that I bring something back for my family members and that they expect maybe a crystal on the way. This crystal is something that you're holding on to. There's nothing more that will fit in, but we still try to put it in, and it's overfilled. It's the same pattern that we have in our life. The resistance of letting go or holding even on too long is the key factor. I was holding on to memories. Might that be even mentally or physically stuff that I was gifted from people and I felt responsible to keep them. Maybe they were even inherited and somehow it seemed impossible to let go. It could be even things that you were passionate about and somehow you dropped it and you're still having it in your house. And most of the things that we still have around us are maybe even negative. And for me, that was also a key part of learning that resistance is what really is holding us back for going towards a light life or a light approach to life. When it comes to decluttering, it was an area that I worked the most with was my closet. I felt like there may be so much memory, or what if the occasion is coming up that this outfit will be perfect. I put a lot of money or even time in to get this. And this is the resistance that we see so often in our life. And I think sometimes we are just fearing as well, what if we let go? Will we feel miserable, or are we gonna miss the stuff? Another area could be with people. Letting go of people that are close to you, maybe even family member. But because we are having the norm that families have to work together, they have to speak with each other, these things seem to be the norm. But maybe for your health, for your sake, it might be not an easier to let go. I have some similar situations in my family, and since I could finally learn that it's not about getting away from that person, it's allowing me the peace to settle with myself and let go and be in a stage where I feel most comfortable and letting go of that weight. All right, way of getting out to this is starting to say no more often, physically declutter, and look into our life. What is really there that is holding us? Moving on to chapter number 3 now, what comes after? So you're at your full capacity, you're really laying down, you're exhausted on your path up to the mountains, and somehow you're questioning yourself. Is that even realistic? I still have 2 hours to go up to that mountain. My backpack is full. I am sore. I fell 3 times already on the way. My knees are hurt. What am I even doing with that many crystals? And that's the pivot point when you realize and question everything. You reflect, and in that case, take a moment, maybe even a nap. After you had some rest, you say to yourself, hey, do I really need to bring that many things? Can I just acknowledge that the path is so beautiful and that there are many rocks that are so pretty to watch, but does that mean that I have to bring everything with me? Now you're gonna empty your whole bag of these crystals and you're like, wow, this is all that I carried for the last 2-3 hours, or in our life, it's more realistic about years, but let's stick to the story. Okay, that's the amount that I'm currently having. It's not supporting me. But even though all these crystals are beautiful, I will decide now which ones I pick. So you're gonna make a pile that you keep and a pile that you don't. And you start slowly doing that and realize just because it is nice and pretty doesn't always mean I have to carry it with me. I can acknowledge that item that is beautiful. And then I'm only left with several stones. I'll put them back in my backpack and start to walk. And what do I realize? I get more energy. I'm even faster in my speed, and somehow I feel uplifted. I have more energy. Everything seems to be easier. And while you're doing your walk for an hour or so, you realize, what would I have really done with all these crystals at home? I don't even really collect crystals. Somehow I just got into that rush of collecting all these crystals. And now that you only have 7 left, you can say with proudness to yourself that you acknowledge that, hey, sometimes a little amount is exactly what I need. I can cherish each individual. But also, now that you can bring those stones home, you will always think about that the weight that we sometimes carry is not needed, and we can just walk with a lighter backpack into our next hike. And you will remember not only the stones, the scenery, the whole thing is imprinted in your memory. So that's the story. When we're coming back now to our day-to-day life, this is exactly it. Letting go of scenarios, letting go of belongings, and questioning our things that we're doing. It's the same with consume. We're seeing so many beautiful things in the store, and that is a temptation when we are in there. The temptation of getting it, to see it's maybe a trend or how we can optimize our life or make us feel better in that moment, such as hitting a dopamine rush. What I also learned, I can acknowledge the things that are in the store that are beautiful, but that doesn't really mean that I have to bring it with me. Sometimes I even make pictures, or you could have taken pictures of the rocks that you let go. And this is the principle that I like to follow more often in my life. That not every occasion or not everything that I see has to be introduced in my life. I can just acknowledge it for that presence, or that even someone else is owning it can make me happy. So this is your sign to start to let go more often. I've learned that it is freeing, and the mental peace that the whole journey of becoming more minimalistic has made me question what is good for me, what amount is manageable for me. The process that you go through will change you mentally, physically, your surrounding, how you show up in life. I hope you had great insights from this conversation and can implement that. Share what is something that you let go this week that truly impacted your week towards the end. I would love if you share it. Thanks so much for being here. I truly appreciate your presence. And lately we have grown on this channel, and I thank you so much for following along. And so take care, have a lovely day, and we see you soon. Bye.